Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Hope you're well and enjoying your day. Welcome to your Nottingham Forest news. In today's episode, we will be running through the Forest official squad announcement of the 25-man player team, and we will be talking about the players who have been omitted and what happens to them now. Following that, we will touch on a little bit more on the Fulham match, and I will run you through a couple of things that we may have left out on the Fulham preview. If you haven't seen that already, please make sure you go and check it out from Tuesday. And then to round it up, we will be talking about what's coming up this week. Well, we could do that now, actually. We've got the match watch along tomorrow starting from 7:30 as Forest take on Fulham at the City Ground. You won't miss a kick of the game with us if you are not going to the match. We'll be following that by the player ratings, which we will do live, and I value your input as always into that, so make sure you're around for that. And if it doesn't get too late, and once Forest have hopefully won, we may do a little fan forum after just to enjoy and celebrate it out. So, guys, before we get started, as always, if you would be kind enough to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you are enjoying the Forest content and would like to support us, you can do so for only 99p by becoming a member and hitting that join button, and that will give you at the very least all the Forest emojis of all the players that you know and love. Guys, let's jump into the news and let's start with the squad announcement. Okay, some interesting news on the squad announcement. If you haven't seen it already, I will post it on the YouTube page and it'll be on my Twitter as well, so make sure you're following on Twitter. It's Wolverine8125. But it's interesting to see that these two players are the highlights of the players who have been omitted in Cafu and in Lyle Taylor. Now, I'm not really that fussed about Taylor. I mean, he gave us that beautiful night at Bristol City last year. But in terms of what he could offer, we got better in front of him. What does come to my mind in terms of a question is, why was Taylor given so much time pre-season? He played in more matches than I would have predicted him playing, and given a lot of face time. Now, was it a case of he was being put in the shop window for him to sell off? If that's the case, well, that clearly backfired because he's still, well, he's a nomad now, so to speak, at Nottingham Forest. But why? I feel that impacted on the potential likes of Owoni, who could have got some more game time, maybe Sam Surridge. I know he was coming back from an injury, etc. But why? Why was he given so much time if there was no plans for him to be included in the squad? Let me know your thoughts on that one below. Now, in terms of Cafu, I'm not going to lie, I've got a soft spot for him. I think he does offer something different to the squad. I'm not saying he's a starter by any stretch of the imagination, but when you can score a free kick like he did in pre-season, and when you have the passion and love and that smile on your face the whole time, he's the kind of player you want involved in and around a squad. Now, who would I have omitted to put Cafu in? Clearly, you guys know I would say Colback. I feel Colback is at the end of his career. He's not Premier League quality. He doesn't offer anything, in my opinion, that can change a game in the positive for Forest. In my opinion, what he can do is lock a midfield up, maybe in the last 20 minutes or so. But as we saw in Bournemouth when we played them, he came on and literally did nothing. Now, that's nothing against him. It's not against his ability. He's playing to the max of his ability. But for me, when you compare him versus Cafu, one, the personality, for me, I like a Cafu-style personality. And two, Cafu brings that element of, not an X factor, but an enigma-style element, in my opinion, of course, where he can come on and do something weird, something crazy, and maybe just change the game. Maybe it might be once a season or twice or a couple of times, but he could have had a better impact, in my opinion, than Colback. In terms of the rest of the squad, I'm quite happy with it. It looks very nice. It looks very balanced. For those of you asking about Serge Aurier and what happened with his visa status, that's all been sorted out. He's been named in the 25-man squad as well. The other thing I've had, which made me smile a bit, was I had a couple of messages saying, where's Brennan Johnson? He's not named in the 25-man squad. That's because he's under the age of 21. Therefore, you can omit those players and they can still come into the squad with no issue. So any of our youngsters can still be used in the squad if they need to be so. Now, Let's move on from talking about the actual squad to how the squad should fit and perform, and we'll touch on the Fulham match as well. So the squad is all set. It's now down to Cooper to figure out from that 25-man squad or 30-man squad, however you want to look at it with the youngsters, who his starting 11 is going to be, and it needs to be a settled 11. The last thing I want to see happening with this Forest team is chopping and changing week in, week out for the next 2 to 3 months. Look, I understand that's going to happen probably over the next couple of matches, but Cooper needs to quickly come to some kind of formula in his mind of who his starting 11 are, maybe who his 15 are that he would rotate in, the odd midfielder here and there. But if it's not settled, it doesn't give us a settled environment or a settled game plan when it comes to match days. And you will see the chemistry taking longer to develop between the players. Now, at the same time, I don't want him to just settle into the players that he knows and trusts, as I call them, the favourites FC, because what would have been the point in buying all these new players and the talented players we have bought? In my opinion, this squad is at least a mid-table Premier League squad. And Cooper's been given the tools by Marinakis now to go ahead and extract that kind of position out of the league from this squad. But he has to quickly understand who the right players are and who he should be starting with. For example, it's clear for me to see, I think it's clear for most of you to see, that there are certain players that are not up to the Premier League standard. I'm talking the likes of, say, Steve Cook. Now, I love what he did for us last season. He's a warrior. He wears his heart on his sleeve. But again, I'm talking about limitations in terms of what they can do on the pitch. For me, Cook should not be starting at all and should be used as a backup defender. When we've got the young talent like Bidet who's been brought in, when we've got someone like Bolly who, was a panic buy in my opinion just to cover the injury of Niakata, those two should at the very least be in the front running ahead of someone like Steve Cook. Now, Worrell, what I've said about him, I've said. I still see him being used in the team. Personally, I would like him dropped for one match just to send a clear message, not just to him, but to the whole squad, that there is no one who is bigger than the club. And not that I think he thinks he's bigger than the club. What I'm saying is, as the status of captain, that doesn't guarantee you a starting place. And I think, ideally, I would love to see Bidet playing regular first-team football. I think he has abundance of talent. He's young. He's pacey. He's very similar in terms of profile to Niakate. Now, his development isn't as far forward as Niakate, but he is in that that mould for it. So Cooper does need to work through this squad and understand very quickly who he does need to use. And then when you've got the talent of someone like Freuler, who in my opinion has been underused already this season, a player who has Champions League pedigree, captain of Atlanta, he's a leader, he can command midfield and link it between the midfield and the strike force as well as the defence. That's the kind of player you want to see starting regularly. And the other player that's frustrated me in terms of his lack of selection is Emmanuel Dennis. Now, Emmanuel has a middle name, as revealed now on the team sheets, as Bonaventura. That in itself should give him the right to start. What a sick middle name that is. Bonaventura, I love it. Joking aside though, he has not been given a run out in the team. Now, there are people saying that maybe it's because his position is up for grabs against Brennan Johnson, and Brennan Johnson will always start slightly ahead of him in the pecking order. I understand that, but I also see Dennis as very comfortable on the left-hand side. Yes, he has to invert and cut in to use his right foot, but he can play very comfortably on that left-hand side. So there's a lot of things that need to happen. We have to see changes for the Fulham match. I am praying that we do. Look, I've said I'm worried about this Fulham match, but my worry really starts at 7 p.m, or should I say 1 minute to 7. I'm more nervous about what the team sheet is going to look like than the actual game. If the team sheet does have some decent changes in it, the defence has been shored up, there's more of a balance with a number 9 up front as well, I'm going to feel more and more confident. If Cooper decides to give another chance to Favourites FC like he did against Bournemouth, then I am going to be worried about the result. Look, guys, let me know if you haven't already in the comments below who your starting 11 is going to be for the Fulham match, or who you would like to see, should I say, in the Fulham match for tomorrow. So that's my rant over. I'm very excited about the squad. Very excited still about the season. I'm a bit disappointed that after the Fulham match, we've got, a 2-week break before we play the scum that is Leicester. So football is still going to be stop-start, probably until we get to the other side of the World Cup. It's also been announced as well that Nottingham Forest will be playing Spurs, I think, on Wednesday, the, 9th of November at 7:45. I'm looking forward to the revenge match against my brother for that one. I am sure we will turn them over at the City Ground. That wraps up your news for today, ladies and gents. Before you go, if you'd be kind enough to leave the video a quick like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and don't forget you can become a member for 99p, or if you want to support us on Amazon, just click on our link down below. Do your shopping, it's completely free of charge for you, as Amazon will give us a bit of commission to say thank you for guiding them to their thank you for guiding you to their website. I'm out of here. Come on, you Reds.